It's Redemption Day, or at least it might be Redemption Day. A few weeks ago, I tried to recreate the pork belly that I learned to make at Goldie's from Lane. Well, didn't do a great job. I don't really like the color that we're getting here. I don't know why we don't have that dark bark, and this is kind of flaking off here. This doesn't look right. The crust is not going to be good. It might have even overcooked.
It's a little
on the
too
bottom.
much because the top is so soft, it's hard to bite through it properly.
So either Lane didn't really give me the secrets,
No,
or I just messed up the cook entirely.
I didn't say that.
So there's a couple of things studying that I think I probably could have done better. So the first thing you guys noticed, Lane didn't use a binder
Don't need a binder. This guy's feeling plenty tacky.
and I used water. So we're gonna try that. The second thing is I put on a more heavy seasoning than Lane did. He did a pretty light coating, so I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. And then the third thing is that some of you noticed that the heat from underneath was more intense than normal in a smoker and speculated that I might have had a heat management plate, a heat distribution plate inside the smoker, which Yoder's do actually come with heat distribution systems. So I removed it. And now we're gonna cook on Boba Fett behind me without any heat management. With those three changes, I'm hoping I can get close to the pork belly that I tasted at Goldie's, which was hands down the best pork belly that I'd had. That's melt in your mouth pork belly. Now I make a lot of pork belly. That's, way better than what I'm doing. Although I might screw it up again. I haven't tested any of this because you guys like to see whether I win or lose. So let's jump right in. All right, there's not a lot of trimming that we need to do on this. It's a pretty meaty looking piece of pork belly. As usual, we're starting with a good looking piece. I'm gonna cut this into roughly thirds. So we're working with smaller, more manageable pieces. This one on the end looks the meatiest. Let's work with this one. All right, no binder like Lane did, no binder. And we're just gonna do a nice light coating here. First on the meat side. And then on the fat side. And by the way, I'm using Goldie's seasoned salt just like Lane used when he taught me and just like they use at Goldie's. So using the same meat and the same seasonings and a much lighter coat this time. Lane didn't do the sides, so I'm not gonna do the sides. So I guess I'll meet you at the grill. So this is Boba Fett, my Yoder Durango 24 offset smoker. I've got them running at 275 degrees, running post oak wood from Texas. Now you can see on here, I've got a couple briskets on here where I'm actually testing to see whether Jerby or Chud is right about how to season a briskets. But in the meantime, we're just gonna put our pork belly right here in the middle between the briskets and the flames. And we'll be back to check on this and see how it's doing in a couple hours. All right, 3 hours in on the pork belly. Let's take a look. Okay, we are getting color on it this time. This is very different than what we had before. We've got a nice looking bark forming. We're still a ways from this being done, at least a couple more hours. Maybe we have redemption. We'll see. All right, it's taken us almost 7 hours to get here, but this should be, oh, it looks good. Let's see what we got. All right, texture-wise, this feels, I get the jiggle. The bottom's not overcooked like last time. Yeah, we're probing pretty tender. All right, I'm gonna call it. Let's take this off and let's go rest it. And I'm gonna do something else different here, a fourth change that I'll show you in a second. So this is a warming oven that I bought so I could do the test of long rest in a warming oven versus short rest, but we're also gonna rest this pork belly in here because that's what Lane did. So it's gonna rest in here for an hour. We'll see if that crisps it up. We'll see you in an hour.
That looks different.
Different, right?
A lot different than last time. Not so different from Lane's, but definitely different than when you tried to replicate Lane's.
By the way, if you're new here, this is Nick. Nick's the cinematographer, so all that great footage that hopefully looks delicious, that's all Nick, and the hopefully good cooking, that's mostly me. But Nick
We're
cooks.
gonna see.
We're gonna see. But Nick cooks. Nick got himself a big Joe, a Kamado Joe, right?
I did. After learning from all the different things you do here, I was on a Traeger and I wanted to step up my game, and man, it's fantastic. I've taken a little of what I've learned here, messed up a few times, but done some good ones
Done some good stuff. Have you done pork belly yet?
No, I have not done pork belly yet.
All right, you want to take home one of those thirds that I didn't cook on here and try this on your Kamado Joe?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. All right, so we know it looks different.
Yeah, well, the biggest
Right.
things that I know that you did was, one, you didn't spritz. One, you didn't
no binder.
No binder.
No binder, right.
And then you did a lighter seasoning.
Which I don't
on
know
there.
how much of a difference that made, but it's possible that that flakiness was because the seasoned salt clumped
Didn't
up
actually
around
get
the
into it.
binder,
Right.
right? So maybe, right?
Or maybe it's just too much seasoning on
Which
the
is
one.
the second thing, right? So I did kind of over season
Right.
a lot. Maybe,
Or
maybe not kind of. Maybe,
Was it
yeah.
that it was flaky like that because you had that deflector plate
the
in
weird
there?
heat setup, right?
Because it was cooked a lot on the bottom.
It
but
was.
then not
So this
much
is
on
the theory,
top.
and they by the way
Yeah,
figured this
it was the
out, right?
audience,
So
yeah.
the idea that the smoke management, the heat management plate that Yoder ships
Yeah.
with, like it gets hot and then it's doing radiant heat
Right.
from the bottom, right? So that taking that out, notice it made it cook longer, right?
Right.
Like this was 7 hours as opposed to 5.
Yeah.
Right, to get to ready, and that's probably because we didn't have that radiant heat at the bottom, but we also didn't overcook the bottom.
Well, I wonder if even the meat was blocking some of your thermometers too, so it actually wasn't registering how much heat was coming from below as opposed to from above.
Could
so.
totally have been that, right? And then the other change that we added last minute was we used that warming oven that I got for the do we do a long rest or a
Right.
short rest test that we're going to be filming in a couple of weeks,
Well,
right?
you got to do a trial run.
Got to do a trial run, and so like in there, and definitely got a bark on it now.
Yeah, it's got a good bark.
Right.
It looks like it's got a little bit of crispiness to it, so that's pretty
I don't know if this
exciting.
is going to be as good as Lane's. Now, if it is, all right. So I need you to be. Nick's a Marine, so he's going to be honest with you. But like, here's the deal. Like, I did pork belly like a brisket before you actually joined the channel.
Right.
It was the best I'd ever made.
Okay.
Then Winnie Yee showed me how to do that. That was ridiculous.
Amazing
We got
Asian
schooled by her.
fusion barbecue.
Best pork belly I'd ever
Very
had,
good,
right?
very good.
And then kept cooking, and then we did the what's the best way to make pork belly video where we did
Right.
the traditional way to 165. We did pork belly like a brisket,
Mm-hmm.
and we did pork belly burnt ends.
And honestly, like the progression through the day was the pork belly traditional was my favorite.
Right.
Then like a brisket was my favorite. Then the burnt ends were my absolute favorite. Though if I was doing an appetizer, that's
Yeah,
my
that might
favorite.
be
I'm doing a meal, or if I want it on my plate, I can eat more of the like a brisket. It was just
So other than my attempt a couple weeks ago, the
Right.
first attempt at the
Not-
Goldies,
not the best.
every pork belly is the best pork belly I've ever made, which is kind of mad scientist-y,
yeah,
right? Like,
bad science, bro.
Yeah, mad science. Like this is the pork belly as opposed to brisket, but like if I manage to do lanes, then you can tell them,
Right.
and it's not me being mad science. It's
Yeah.
actually the best, but I don't think it's gonna be. There's something that Lane didn't teach us. There's some secret he didn't give me. We thought that Lane, come up to North Carolina, teach me.
Nah.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut this up into.
Ooh, that's a pretty
look at
smoke
that. That's
ring this
pretty-
time. Oh, look how juicy
Look
that
how
is.
juicy. All right, here we go. Couple slices, and I'll cut these into bite-sized pieces for us here. God, look at that. Look how good that is. All right, let's grab our end pieces. All right.
All right.
Cheers.
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 So much better than last time.
Right.
The smoke on there is fantastic. I mean, night and day from the last attempt.
Right. This is good. All right, let's cut to the chase real quick.
It's not like Lane's.
Not Lane's.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I
Lane's is
didn't.
better.
I didn't say that.
But no shame in the way this happened.
None
right?
whatsoever.
So-
And I think that you did have redemption. You just didn't quite get it the way Lane did.
Okay, I will take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that redemption. So let's
I mean,
thank you.
I'm going to eat some more of this. So
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna take some more too. So listen, watch the video where Lane taught me how to do this or pretended to teach me how to do this. Show 'em where that's gonna be. Right
God.
over there. And then the video where I tried, failed at this, but nailed the ribs, made great ribs. That's gonna be, show 'em where that's gonna be down there. And then we'll see you next time on
Eat More Vegans.